Hi there, this is Art and Such, and today I'm going to show you how to make Doozer from Fraggle Rock using the Rainbow Loom. We're going to alter the helmet, the hat just a little bit here, but otherwise it's pretty much what you see. You're going to want some orange bands, white, green or gray or blue, yellow or orange for the hat. I'm using a couple of very small black beads for the eyes, and I'll be threading those on with a piece of dental floss. And I'm going to use a pink bead for the nose today, but I will show you how you can attach it using bands and your hook. So you'll need a couple of holding hooks or crochet hooks, some C-clips, and your loom in the offset configuration, and we're ready to go. So let's start with our feet. We're going to grab a couple of orange bands, so you'll need 2. And we're going to wrap them 1, 2, 3 times on the hook. You can do it only 2 if you find that that's too tight. We're going to pull this onto 2 white bands. Replace, grab 2 more white bands, wrap them on the end of the hook 1, 2, and 3 times. Again, if you feel this is too tight, you can leave it at 2. This will just make it, again, look really tighter. We want to get this in between the 2 sides of the double bands we've already got on. So we're going to pull one side of the first piece over the new piece and slide this onto double white bands. So we're just going to repeat a couple things here. Put 2 white bands on the end, slide everything else off the hook and onto that. Try to keep it in order and try to keep it as even as you can. And we're going to put another 2 whites right on the end. 1, 2, 3. And pull it so that those are in the middle. You might find that your bands aren't as stretchy, in which case you won't want to loop them as many times. Or you might find that it's working just fine. Okay, 2 white bands, slide it through. And now this is going to go onto 4 orange bands. And I'm going to give you actually an alternative here. Because the orange doesn't show up a lot, you can go straight to your green bands and then wrap a couple of oranges afterwards. And to do that you would, just going to show you both ways here, take a single orange and pop it over, twist it, bring it around. So you can do that for the top of the ankle part if you want, or like me, you'll get a thicker part of the top, but we're going to do it anyway. We grab 4 orange bands and slide them through. And I should be keeping this in order because I'm making this harder than it needs to be. But we'll get it over and straighten this out a little bit. There we go. And now we've got 2 sets, each with 4 green bands. So 4, pull it through, and another 4. 2, 3, and 4. Pull it through. You can leave this here or put it on another hook, and we'll make the other little foot piece. So 2 orange bands wrapped onto the hook 1, 2, 3 times, pulled onto 2 white, and we want 2 white in the middle here, so we're going to wrap 2 on the end. 1, 2, 3. Bring that into the middle. Just going to try and straighten this out, keep it straight while I go. We're going to add another 2 white bands, so this goes onto those. Oops, one of those just snapped. Sorry guys, give me a second. Try that again. You Use our good white band and another one. And this sometimes happens when you've got a lot of bands or tight bands or a lot of pressure, so just be careful. And if your bands are snapping, you can always, as I said, use fewer bands or fewer wraps. It'll just give it a slightly different effect. We want our 4 orange bands. I'm going to pull that through the bands on the hook, and 2 sets of 4 green. We're almost at the arms, and the arms are similar but maybe a tiny bit easier. So we're going to start with white because he's got his little work gloves. We're going to wrap 2 white on the hook, 1, 2, 3 times. And this is going to go onto 2 sets of double white bands. And then onto 2 orange bands. And then we've got 3 green bands. So this is 1 set of 3. And another 3. And then a 3rd set of 3 green bands. And onto 2 green bands. And these last 2 are the ones we're going to use to attach it to the body in a bit. Okay. Other arm, 2 white bands, wrapped 1, 2, 3, pulled onto 2 white, onto 2 white, onto 2 orange, and onto 3 sets of triple green here. 1, a 2nd set of 3 green, and we need another 3 green, and then we'll be ready to move on here. So these are all our additional parts for now. We've got a couple of other things we'll make to add when we're done on the loom, but for now let's start at the top here. And we're going to need our yellow. Let's come down from the top center to the top side once. Double bands, and top center to the top of the other side. Come down once on each of the rows with double yellow bands. Now just, here, actually I'll show you the picture. What I originally did looked something like this at the top. And it kind of came out a little taller than I wanted to, and then when this guy was done I wove the pieces in and then I made the top part. So this time we're gonna skip the add-on, but if you want added thickness you can thicken that up after, and we're gonna still keep this part, but we're gonna kind of jump ahead right onto the loom and make it thicker on there. So now we've got 1 side of double yellow on either side. And the color you're using for the skin, I'm using green. Take 2 bands, come from the 2nd peg down to the 3rd peg down in the middle. We want 1, 2, just a second here, make sure we've got the right count. 1, 2, 3 sets, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 sets of double green bands in total coming down the middle there. So this is going to take us to our 6th peg down in the middle. So the first set was double yellow and then 4 sets of double green. And on either side we're going to come down twice with double green bands. Come into the center, 2 green bands from the 5th right to the 6th center, and repeat from the left 5th peg down. We're going to come outwards 2 bands from the 6th center to the 6th right, and from the 6th center to the 6th left. Now on either side we want 5 sets of double green bands coming down. This is going to take you to within 2 pegs from the bottom. There you go. Or to the second peg from the bottom, I should say. No, we're at the 3rd peg, so you'll have 2 pegs left underneath. There. And our middle row is going to end just 1 peg above that, so we have, starting at the 6th peg down, this is going to be a busy peg. Double bands come down 5 times. Oh, stop. Wait. One correction here, because we want a little bit of thickness for the tummy. Now this is optional, but if you want them to have kind of a rounder tummy in the middle, what you're going to do is at the 8th peg down, so after you've laid down 2 sets here, the next 3 are each going to have 5 bands on them. I don't think I'm going to do that this time, but originally the 8th to the 9th, the 9th to the 10th, and the 10th to 11 each had 5 bands on from those pegs. Like I said, I'm not going to worry too much about it because the guy is kind of covered here with our skin tone or brown tool belt, but if you want them to be a little rounder, maybe you're leaving the tool belt off. That's the way to do it. Let's put our arms onto the 6th peg down on either side. So transfer the bands off your hook and right directly there. Opposite side. And our legs are gonna go onto, you know what, I forgot to put my last 2 on this left arm. We want 2 bands here. Otherwise we're gonna have uneven arms. Take 2 green bands, get them ready at the end of your hook, and you're gonna pull both of the legs on top of those. Stretch that across. I'm gonna count for you in a second. I think we are at about the 10th peg down. 11th peg down. No, it can't be right. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah. From the 11th left to the 11th right, so the bottom ones that we've used, pull up over the center so that you've got 1 leg on either side, and this is going to work as a kind of a cap band. Now we can add our holding bands, and then I'm going to show you how to make the side extensions to make them a little bit wider, which is again also optional, but it's for effect. You're going to take a green single band and stretch it, put it on the peg above the last one that you did, so this is your 4th from the bottom. Stretch it across and stretch it up over the center one. We're going to make triangles like that going up for a total of 4 here. And get your hook ready. We're going to do our chains. We have, I'm just going to make sure we've got the right number here, a single green, wrap once and twice, and we're going to put this onto 4 sets of double green bands. Okay, give me 1 second here. We'll make sure this is going in the right place. So you're going to put the bands, let's leave this on the hook for the moment. You want to find at the very bottom there are 3 little lines going parallel to the ones on your hook. You're going to pull those up and make the loop and put that onto the bottommost peg that you've used, the one that the legs are on. Now stretch the bands that are on your hook up 1, 2, 3, 4 pegs. So it's going to sit on the peg that's just under the arm. And because we don't want this loose at the side, what we need to do is take our hook, grab 1 piece out of each chain, and pull it over each of the pegs in between. So they should kind of line up here. And we're going to try to do this without twisting things too much, but there you go, now it's connected, it's not going to separate there. We need one more for the opposite side, same thing, single, wrap it once and twice. I'm going to get one a little bit less twisty here. Once and twice onto 4 sets of double green bands. Grab the bottom little loopy circle thing and put that onto the peg that has your shoe on it, your foot, your leg. And we're going to stretch this up to the peg under the arm. And once more, pull a piece out of each part of the chain. I'm just grabbing ones that are near the top here towards the center. Don't get in a panic if you've pulled one from the outside, but just watch that it's not twisting too much. And we're going to put single holding bands on the face the same thing we did on the body. Triangles again. Actually, this top one should be a yellow because that's the color we used. They're pretty close, but yellow, green, green, and one more green. And we need some eyes. So what we're going to do is go to the 4th peg down and take that triangle band off. I'll show you how to do this with bands first. So if you're using bands, you'll take a black, wrap it 1, 2, 3 times. Take another black and wrap that 1, 2, 3 times. And pop them both onto a green. Stretch those across from the 4th peg down to the 4th peg down. Get in between. I'm going to show you both ways, so just give me a second. Place that over the 4th peg down in the center. So that's the way to do it with the bands. If you're using beads, what you can do is thread it onto a piece of floss or a thin wire or a needle and thread. Just anything stiff really, with a thin line behind it. So we'll put both of those on. Put the floss through. Let's move the set away. Through a green. Bring your floss back over and back through the beads from the opposite direction. And of course, as I always tell you, if your beads have larger holes, you could stick them right onto a hook and then slide them over from there. And as with the band method, we do need to get between the eyes, which is always a tiny bit harder with beads. Separate and lift. For the nose, let me show you the band method and the bead method. So with bands, what you do is take a single pink, 1, 2, 3 times, and you're going to put it onto a doubled over single pink. So stretch, twist, put it back onto itself on the end of the hook, slide over, replace, and put this onto a green band. And this goes on the same peg that has the eyes. Okay. Now what you can also do, just before I show you the bead method, which is similar to the eyes, you can, this is looking like it's going to be hard here, get in between, like get under the pink and bring that band over. And then it might sit a little more even there. Okay, so that's with bands, and with beads, we're going to attach it to get it on onto the band the way that we did with the eyes. So a piece of floss goes through, then through a green band, back over and back through. And then this can be just attached across. Alright, so let me consult my pattern one more time, but I think we are ready to go. Okay, let's start looping. We are going to start on the right side. You can see there's lots of bands of the same color here, but we're looking for the ones that run along the bottom. That's all that we want. You're going to take your hook and point the open part up and away from you. Put it inside the peg thirdmost from the bottom. Push back all but the bottom two. Grab those, scoop them forward, and replace them onto the next peg up. Push back your holding bands and continue. Now if you don't have the side extension on, this is even easier because there's nothing in your way, except the holding bands of course, but for all intents and purposes you can pretty much ignore that that side extension is there and just loop the bottom like you normally would. There's just more to push back. Go inside the next one under the arm and loop those to the middle. Try to keep the bands on that sixth peg kind of comfortably separately layered because we're going to have to dig through those later to find certain ones. Coming over to the other side, I'm just going to pull these a little loose so I can get a better reach on them. We're going to find the bottom two. Coming at this from a different angle, which is making it a little harder. And basically, we're going to repeat everything on the right side. Just got to get this first one here. It wants to come up, but it wants to go up with the other bands. Push back, get your next two, move it forward, and keep going until you reach the arm. Okay, we've got two from each of those. We're going to go into the arm, pull the bottom two upwards to the middle, and go back to the third peg from the bottom and the center, loop forward, right until you reach the neck there. And here, I'm very sorry guys, this is the difficult part. We've got to find the two bands that are coming from the left side. So what you might want to do is hold those with your fingers, reach in, push back, and I'm going to take this arm off so I can get inside a little better too. Going to reach in, pull back, and when you're sure that you've got the right ones, bring them over to the left side. Please take as much time for this part as you need. Feel free to pause and come back. When you're ready, go for the next two, and they go up to the right. And the last ones are going to go forward. So you should have two bands coming here, two here, and then two up. We're going to loop up in the middle. Push back the band that's holding the eyes. Can go straight to the top here. Actually, I'm gonna loop this last, but either way is okay. Come down on the side and we're gonna loop up the bottom two bands straight upwards. And then loop into the middle. Right side, loop up 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And into the middle, and now I'm going to loop my center one. And let's grab a single yellow band. Put your hooks through the bands on the top center peg, and I find it's easiest if the open part is pointing away to you, so now you're looking at the back of the hook and then it won't catch on anything. Make sure you're through all of them, and then you can grab a yellow band, pull back, and as you're coming up you want to turn it so that the open part is facing up. Put the other side on and pull one over the other to create a slip knot. This can go on a hook, on a C-clip, or just on your finger for the moment as we remove our doozer from the loom. And we just have a little more to do on the hat and is to a belt to make. If you see any loose bands at this point, you want to be sure to grab them, put them on a C-clip, weave them in, because it would kind of suck to have to do this all from scratch over a loose band. Just me, I know, I've been there. Done that before. Okay, so you're going to decide which side will be your front and pop your nose through and pop your eyes through. And we're going to take our yellow band and just put it onto a C-clip for now. Okay. My eyes aren't showing up very well there. I'm going to press this to the other side, I think, and see if that's better. It's a little better. Okay. No, we'll keep it there. All right, so you'll sort this out for yourself the way that you like yours to look. I think personally I like the bands better. And for the top part of his construction hat there, we've got a single band wrapped once and twice. 2 times 5, that looks like I said. So put double bands on the end of the hook, pull through. Hold on, we're just gonna loop this once. Single band, twist it once back over so you get 2 loops. That'll be a little easier to grab. We're gonna put it on to a chain of 5. So that's 1 set of double bands, 2 sets, 3, 4, and I'm going to measure this to make sure this is still what we want here, and 5. Okay, so let's take a single, pull it through, put the other end back on, and pull one side over the other and over the end of the hook to connect. We're going to reach in from the back to the front, right in the center, and you want to grab that tied off band, pull it through to the back, and we're going to grab the other part from behind here. So I'm just going to find a couple pieces at the end of my chain and pull those through, and we can weave this in. So I'll put it under a nearby band, pull my yellows over and off the hook, and now I can put this onto the same C-clip that has my securing band on it, and we'll just adjust this to the top. It kind of looks like a little mohawk, but it's for his construction hat. And the last thing for us to do is to make his tool belt. So for the sash, you have 2 options. One is to make the chain and have it go all the way around in a circle. So you'll be using double the amount of bands, and you can make a full loop and connect, and then secure that to the back. Or you can do as I've done and loop it across the front and then connect it. So I'm going to show you how to do it this way. It's a little messier in the back, but it does save you some bands. And as I said, the option is up to you, the way you want to do it. You can use a yellow, a gold, any shade of brown, or a tan skin tone, which is what I'm going to do here. Take a single skin tone, wrap it once onto the hook, and we're going to make a chain of doubled over singles, and we want about 13 in total. So that's 1, 2, 3. Actually, I'll show you a 4th. Well, no, I'll show you how to do this. I'll show you a couple of different ways here. So 4, 5. I'm going to show you the way that I attach these first, and then I'll show you another alternative. I just thought we could try 7, 8, 9. You could do this on the loom if it's easier. You'll just have to kind of work backwards, and you might have to add a couple in as well. Completely lost count. I think we're on about 11 there. Let's have a look. Yeah, let's do 1 or 2 more. 13 ought to be good. So first let me show you this method of attaching it, and then I'll give you another alternative. So what I would do here, lay it across the body, but it's okay if the bottom comes loose for the moment. I'm turning this upside down so you can see. What we're going to do is take a piece of green from the back, put it onto the hook, and pull the skin tones over that and over the end of the hook. And from here you have a couple of options. You can put this onto a C-clip, and then we'll repeat the same thing on the bottom using the tail here to finish it off. Or the other thing you can do is weave your way down. So grab put your hook under a green and pull the first one over the second one. And just watch that it's not getting too tight, which means your bands should be reasonably close together. But as I said, what you can do is weave it across until you're right at the side where you want to be. So this is still the back we're looking at. What you can do is turn it around, bring your tool belt across, turn it around again. I'm sorry this is upside down, it's just too awkward for me to do it this way so that you can still see it. What you would want to do is grab your skin tone and pull your green over those and put this on your C-clip. So let's do that. And this is how I did my 3 belt sections originally, and I believe my one going across had about 10 on it. Now I'm going to show you another thing that you can do. So this is kind of a compromise between going all the way around and just going halfway. We can start the same way. So take a single wrap at once, and we're going to do 13 doubled over, and then we're going to add something else that is another way to attach it here, kind of. It's 2. Sorry guys, this takes me a long time to put these on here. You can always jump ahead a little bit if you've got it before me, but I'll keep going. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I should also mention here I haven't added on any tools. If you have any beads that you want to play around with adding, or you can weave them in afterwards or incorporate them into some of your chains, or maybe you want to like put some wrapped bands onto these. I'm not too sure how that would come out. I haven't played around with it too much, but it's something you can consider. Just need a couple more here. Now the second one, you might want it to be just a tiny bit bigger, just so that it, because it's got further to go, because it's going to over the first one. So that's pretty good. Now, if you don't like the idea of fitting these in underneath, you can take 1 or 2 bands, pull them through, not doubled, and we'll continue our chain like that. Because as I said, it won't show so much at the back anyway, and this way we can loop it all the way around. So that's 3 sets of double bands I've done. This is 4, 5. We'll have to measure as we go. Let's see if we're getting close there. Let's do 6 sets of double bands. 7, and we might need 8, but the idea here, like I said, is to have this go all the way around, and that way you don't have to weave it into the back part. That looks pretty good. Let's take a piece from the original one at the top, and this is the back we're looking at, upside right. We're going to loop that through, put it on a C-clip. This way you are still using bands, but maybe not as many. You could even use a single chain, as I said, and this way it's going to go all the way around. You might still want to secure it in place at the bottom on the side there, just so he doesn't jump up. So to do that, we go under a piece on the back, we grab a piece of the chain where we want it to be sitting, which is a little harder than it looks, and we're going to pull that through. I'm going to bring this a little lower here. So this might take a bit of fiddling just till you have it positioned the way you want, but I'm going to go through again there. And again, I'm just going to weave it until it's nice and even and put that on a C-clip. So that's the second method. It will go across, but using a single or double chain on the back rather than doubled over bands. If you wanted to make it go a little faster, be easier, use fewer bands. Okay, and I think we missed part on the second leg there, or I did anyway. Alright, I'll put an annotation on for you for that, and let's do our last belt across the center. Single wrap it once, and we're going to do doubled over again. As I said, I believe I used about 10. So let's try with 10 first. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We'll see if that fits. That's pretty good. Okay, so similar to what we did before, I'm going to take a green from the side here, slide it through my skin tone, pop that onto a C-clip, or weave it in the back a little and then put it on a C-clip. I think. See, when I turn this I can still see that C-clip, so what I'm going to do is come to the back here, grab another bend that's a little further in, and put that on as well, and that should draw the C-clip to the side, and we'll stretch it across and attach it on the opposite side. Go through a green, this is backwards upside down, grab the end of the skin tone or belty colored whatever, and we're going to put this on a C-clip. You can use one that's already there if it doesn't have too much on it, or put it on a new one. As I said, you can always add some extra tool pieces to the belt, and adjust this a little bit, and there we go. So there's your Doozer. I'm going to try and get some more Fraggle characters for you at some point. I've got lots and lots on my list I'm working on, but I wanted to bring this to you now, and I thank you for watching.